welcome into another episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the episode, just want to issue major spoiler alert. We are going to be talking about everything that happened during the season finale of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So if you haven't checked out that episode yet, you may want to pause this video, even though it's live, head over to Disney Plus, check out that finale episode, and then come back and enjoy the breakdown. Now, with that out of the way, let's start the show.
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
Joining with me to break down everything for the season finale of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, it's Burpee McGee himself, Johnny Rico.
Hey.
Hello there.
Oh, hey, wow,
I don't
wow.
even know how you were able to burp over it. It mutes us while we're playing videos. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh my god, dude, what can I say? Oh my god, sorry about that.
Well, I know you're excited. That's why you're burping. I get it.
So
I get
excited,
it.
yeah,
You
because they're
can't
excitement burps.
contain
Excitement
your
burps.
excitement.
Yeah.
So that's a finale. That's what we call it. That's
Ooh wee.
ooh indeed. So much to talk about. So many things happened.
Yes.
We have a long list of things that we want to mention, but I'm gonna kick us off with the thing that I got, the thing that I really, really wanted.
We
The
all want it.
entire series. We almost got it early, but we got it.
Hello there.
We got it.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I played the prequel one.
Don't worry, I got you.
Hello there.
There we go.
Yeah. There's also been so many fan-made videos all over YouTube. I showed you one of them already where
Oh, so they sync them all up?
yeah,
Yeah, that's so good.
that and they give Luke a bunch of extra arms and they have a whole bunch of extra lightsabers. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good. Everything is
silly.
good. I will watch those for hours. I love them all. But I mean, just as a whole, that counts as my reference. That's all I wanted for pop culture reference, was referencing himself from the prequel trilogy and from the original trilogy. We got an official hello there. And
Obi-Wan memed.
yeah,
Yeah.
he has memed himself and another actor. So that's it. It's perfect. I got that for the finale. That's what I wanted. But all in all, without stepping over anything of the other list of things we want to talk about, finale as a whole, loved it.
Yeah.
Got what I wanted. I mean, it wrapped everything up, and it gave us a better understanding of the original trilogy. Like, that's
Oh.
more than what you could ask for is what we got. But at the same time, I mean, it really did a good job of, they had to stick to a really strict events and a really strict, time frame. And we got that. And I think they did a really good job of that. And I mean, that's all I want to say without stepping over everything else we want to talk about moving on in this. But before we get into anything else, Rico, what were some of your initial reactions to this episode?
Okay, yeah. So first, let me take a drink before I start talking.
And by all means, while he's taking a drink, I just want to let you guys know we are streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope on Twitter, I think, right now. So if you have any questions, if you have any questions, definitely throw them in the chat. We'll answer them. That's what we were doing last week for the live episode. And it was with people Martin was there and some of the normal popping off chatters and stuff like that. But it was awesome to see some new people asking some questions. I think we were getting them from Twitch and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so if you have any
absolutely.
questions, throw them into any of the chats where you're at right now. So
100%. Yeah, we love seeing your interaction in the comments for sure. So now that I'm not nice and hydrated, I would love to say that this was a masterpiece, straight up masterpiece. This show from beginning to end was just, a wonderful dessert, a Star Wars dessert that I could just, nom 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 on. And this was really just like the cherry on top. If it was a present, it would be the bow. You know what I mean? I just love the way that everything was handled in this episode and the way it ties everything together with the original trilogy, like you said. Um, it ties up stuff from the prequel trilogy to the original trilogy and ties things together with even the sequel trilogy in regards to how Luke uh and 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 Obi-Wan are the same at these like stages of their career or their Jedi life. And but I really want to talk about like Riva. I
Mhm.
feel like the way they handled Riva in this episode, while obviously not the main attraction of the episode, um, was still a cool little side adventure that we went on while Obi-Wan and Vader were doing their thing. And but what I do like is that we didn't kill her off in the same way that they did the second sister in Jedi Fallen Order. She's another Inquisitor that technically was redeemed, just like second sister kind of was, where she kind of was able to find the light back and forgive her old master before Vader struck her down. Um, we didn't really know what the reasoning, or not necessarily the reasoning, but why Riva was going over there to kill Luke. I think it was just more the fact that she was angry that a farmer on Tatooine maybe put one over on her. So,
Well, I think it was part that. And by the way, aloha, Martin. No,
Martin,
number
what's
one
up, man?
fan, Martin.
Yeah,
But I think it was more of like it has something to do with Obi-Wan. So
right.
I'm
Also,
gonna screw it
yeah.
up as much as I can. Like I think it was just like what, because she even said like something about this is payback or something like that. Or
Hmm.
so I
Yeah,
think
she was so mad at Obi-Wan for not even being there, even though he was on, Utapau doing his own thing with General Grievous. Like, what the hell is he going to do there the whole time?
yeah.
But, um, but at the end, she actually manages to chase Luke down, which is pretty cool. I love that. Also, another cool thing of how they kind of stay in line with Episode 4 is that Luke never sees the lightsaber that Reva's holding. There's like as soon as she gets into the area where they're hiding him, he's already climbing up the ladder and he's out the window and he runs and he never looks back. And then when she takes him out with the rock or whatever, she's just using the Force and there's no lightsaber, of course. Um, but that second when he's just laying there like all unconscious and Riva's about to like literally just strike him down as a child, like very similar to one how Luke looked at Ben before he was about to strike him down, only for different reasons. But and then he obviously didn't end up doing it, and then look what it led to. But in this case, Riva looked and saw Vader in herself, and of course, there's the more of the mirroring of that Star Wars does. So I like that it mirrors not only the past but it also mirrors the future, of course, or how the future will end up mirroring the past. But I love that in the end that she decides, no, I'm not going to be like Vader. I'm going to, she takes Luke back to the farm and leaves him there. Um, and there's a great moment between her and Obi-Wan where it's that Jedi master in him where he's able to look at someone who's younger than him and that was once a Padawan. It's like, no, I can, like, I feel sorry for you and you did the right thing about doing what you did. Um, but what I love about that is that her story can continue in a way that that really doesn't affect the main timeline in any really way at all. And there's a lot that you can do with her character in other media, whether you can put her in a video game, like if she showed up in Jedi Fallen Order 2 or Jedi
Yeah.
Survivor, I think it's called. You can do something with that. You can do comics. I would love to see a comic about like the stuff that she had to do alone. Like I love that last episode when she tells Obi-Wan, like, you got no idea what I had to do alone. It's like we didn't know what she had to do some pretty dark stuff to get to where she got to at Invader's ranks.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that story unfold. And I feel like redeeming her only to kill her would have again been too similar to the second sister in Jedi Fallen Order. So I like that they did this and left room for more story to be told with her character.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, and I really do like having open-ended um endings for characters. And obviously we know she's not part of the, the original trilogy and stuff like that, but just like you said, we could have different spin-offs in different media, or have her come into, a different video game or a different series, maybe in something that, isn't 100% in the way of the original trilogy. Like, I mean, we could have her pop up in the Ahsoka series if we really wanted to. There's a
Yeah.
lot of like a lot of interesting things, just like you said, where she could pop up because her story, like there is no real like path of exactly what's going to happen to her. So it's really cool. It's their discretion to what they want to have her do next, and it's pretty cool. So,
yeah, love it.
You want to get to some big takeaways?
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome. All right. I know it says 3 big takeaways. We've been doing more than that or less than
We
that.
just do one big takeaway each, basically, but we just talk about all the stuff we like. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. So this section of big takeaways is going to be really interesting. So I'm going to go first, and you're going to go second.
I love it.
All right. So my first big takeaway, and I know you agreed with me on this because we were talking about this before we started going live, was we had some moments that man enough to admit that I teared up during.
Many.
The biggest one for me was at the end when we had Obi-Wan talking to Kid Leia
on Coruscant.
On Coruscant.
Sorry, Alderaan. Sorry,
yeah,
I'm so
Alderaan.
sorry.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I just want to see Coruscant. I just want to see Coruscant again.
But we have him talking to her, and it's a we're like parting ways type of thing. I'm not going to see you type of thing.
Yeah.
And we do get the hey. She said, "Will I ever see you again?" And he said, "If you need me type of thing, you can contact me." But we did get the words. You have to make it seem like it's professional, basically. Like you can't be saying. So we did get it. Like it's safe to like.
It's exactly how it's exactly what I thought it would be when it came to when a few episodes ago when people were talking about that whole thing. Like, why doesn't she mention it in the whole message? Or like, duh, why wouldn't they? Why would they?
Right. But it's what comes next that really had me tearing up was when he said, "Look, I did lie to you when you asked me when I said that I had never met your parents," type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he basically goes through the attributes of Padme.
Yeah.
And said you got those from your mom, and then goes to the attributes of Anakin and said that's what you got from your dad, type of thing. And it was just like, holy shit.
I wish I could remember the exact adjectives that he used, but man, when I heard that, I was like, oh man, he's really gonna go there.
Yep.
And he did, and it was wonderful.
Yep. So that was like that. Like there were a couple of like really like emotional moments, but I think that was for me like the one where I was really like, okay, I get. Next thing, and I mean, like I said, we've already warned everyone. So spoiler ahead, we finally got a Qui-Gon Jinn Force Ghost.
Master.
But my favorite part about this whole thing, though, is that he shows up and he's just like, took you long enough. Like,
yeah.
It's such an awesome way to have a Force Ghost.
It's a perfect way to use him. Yeah, for sure.
It's just like it would. The only way it could have been better is if he had like a watch and he was like looking at it, and that's how he appeared in type of thing. Like that's literally the only way they could have like put out that a little bit better.
Yeah, and I love the way they mirror it in the episode, of course, with the ending being Vader talking to another surprise cameo, which was Emperor Palpatine. Like it made sense that he would show up in this in some form, but like for some reason I thought, okay, maybe they'll just leave him alone and he won't show up. But him showing up at the very end right there. But not only that, it gives us more context into why they don't see each other again until all those years later. It's the Emperor questioning Vader his intentions to begin with, and it's also that chess game between those two because Vader's never served the Emperor. He's always been wanting to kill him. That's always been the whole thing. Like it's the same thing with Reba. That's always been the thing. He's been driven, but that's also been the Sith way. It's like the Sith they've always been raised to overthrow their master, but because it's because they do horrible shit to each other. That's the whole thing. So
I feel like there's no good reason to really be a Sith because it's like eventually someone's gonna kill the other one. Like why are we signing up for this? I get it, there's powers and blah blah blah, but why? Like
I would love to see the origin of the Rule of Two. I always forget if it's Darth Revan. I think I want to say it's Darth Bane or Darth Revan. I want to say Darth Bane that starts that. But I would love to see that whole Sith origin story and stuff like that. But again, that's why I'm so excited for the Acolyte and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah. But also, uh, just the fact that they're saying like you're getting too caught in your feelings, Lord Vader. I'm wondering if like if you're really focused on what you're supposed to be doing, and of course he has to convince him, no, I only serve you, Master, and then that's our last time seeing it. I want a Vader series really bad, really
I
bad.
mean, there's been a lot of rumors that have kind of spiraled from this series about other things we could get. I mean, we can talk about that in
Oh,
predictions
so
if you want
many.
to.
The doors are open. Like again, they're closing doors and opening doors.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all going to be based on what everybody's asking for the most and stuff like that,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's what I had as so far for big takeaways. But you want to talk about some of your big takeaways?
Okay.
I know there's a lot.
Oh, another thing on one of your takeaways too is I love that they chose to. I mean, of course, how do you not physically bring back Liam Neeson's Force Ghost? But because in canon, traditionally, Qui-Gon never really learns to manifest his whole Force Ghost body. He usually is just like a little like like a Force bubble with a voice, essentially. Like he never fully masters it in a sense. So I kind of love that they decide like, okay, no, I think at this point he probably has, and or maybe it's just how Obi-Wan chooses to see him. Who knows? Um,
Yeah.
but oh my god, we got to talk about the meaty part of the episode, right? We got to talk about the rematch we've been waiting for what 20 years to see, almost 20 years. Um, Obi-Wan, Vader. Holy crap! Like if you didn't think that could be as great as you thought it could be, I think it was better in my opinion. I love all the different little parallels. I love Vader smashing a bunch of rocks on top of Obi-Wan and him protecting himself with the Force, and there's that little high ground shot and all that. Um, oh my, I love freaking Obi-Wan going like Super Saiyan, basically
Yeah.
like Space Jesus with all the rocks, and then just hurling them all at Vader. And the fact that also shows how durable Vader is, like to take all like I think one of those will kill a normal person if you think about it. But like the fact that all those just like bounce off of him, and he's just like and then he's still able to fight. Um, and like the of course the whole ending sequence where he strikes Vader's mask, and we finally get that shot in live action I've always wanted to see since Rebels, is the half broken shot of Vader slash Anakin. And for the first time I finally get that feeling that Anakin and Vader are the same person. I've always seen Hayden Christensen's Anakin and James Earl Jones' Vader as almost like two different people. Of
Yeah.
course, because of course Vader and Anakin are treated as two different people, as especially in this episode. Um, but for the first time, I can finally see that tormented young guy in the prequels in that suit, and hearing him speak to Obi-Wan for the first time with the torn between the Anakin's voice and then the modulator is just like so well done.
Yeah,
And
I was bringing that up to you. I was like, that was awesome when it was
yeah.
going, but like in and out, like you could tell that the voice translator thing was like broken, not translator, but voice
Mhm.
modulator thing was like breaking, so it was like working in and out. That
Yeah.
was awesome. Like that.
Yeah, and they did a good job of doing that in Rebels too, when he talks to Ahsoka, and you hear the Clone Wars actor's voice, of course, but the way they were able to blend that in was really well done too. But I felt like that one sounded more like Anakin as opposed to this one, which was a really good blend of the two. I really heard that like Hayden style delivery and some of the lines, and I heard Hayden sounding like James Earl Jones in some of the lines too, like when he tells him he will destroy him, stuff like that. So that was like incredibly powerful to me. Of course, seeing Ewan McGregor's acting in that whole scene is just top notch. Like if I were to give someone an Emmy performance for this show, it would be him, no doubt. Uh, uh, this series did so much for me as far as like Obi-Wan and Vader's complete character arcs. Like when you watch the original trilogy now, you're probably never gonna watch them the same way again if you've watched the show.
Yeah.
And there's so much added context to it now. It's just like it's pretty wild what they've been able to do with the little details that they pay attention to. And man, like just again, one of the things my favorite things was so in Rebels, Ahsoka strikes Vader's mask, and she strikes off the right side of his mask, and that's the first time we see the very first time we've ever seen Vader's face kind of behind the mask at the same time. And then of course in Kenobi, he strikes off the left side of the mask, and then I saw a cool thing brought up how Luke was the one who was able to actually take the mask off all the way, which is a really cool parallel that Star Wars has always been able to draw. And not only that, it's the three closest people that Anakin had in his life that are still alive, because of course Padme is not there anymore. And so of course they like, holy crap, the poetry in Star Wars is probably the most beautiful thing about it. And yeah, beautiful stuff. And then I also want to talk about Owen and Beru, because holy shit, you can't not talk about how badass they become in this show and how you're going to look at them even differently going forward. It's funny. So my dad has a band that's called Beru's Ash, which is, obviously a nod to the burnt remains of Owen and Beru at the end of four. But I think now that name even has a cooler meaning now when you think about the fact that even in their old age, those were two badass farmers who are going to go down defending their land. And I think that's like the message to take away from this. They loved Luke so much that they were going to protect him at any cost. And they knew that anytime the Empire was coming around, looking around, not good at all. And so it kind of gives a almost a bigger perspective to their deaths, but also more insight to their past lives too. Like those aren't just like normal like farmer, rifle, like blaster rifles to protect your land with. Those are weapons of like a past fighter.
Yeah, you brought that up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just thinking like maybe
And the way they
were
keep them
just-
hidden and stuff like that. I feel like those are like they keep those hidden so that they don't like look at something from the past that they like just like they're not part. They don't do anymore. They just want to farm on Tatooine.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about that because we were talking about this before. I think we were talking about this yesterday when I was finally able to watch the finale, and I was like, I just thought they were just, that's the place they put their guns. But you were like, no, it seems like they were hiding them there for a reason. And
Yeah, you could say like they hide them because they don't want Luke to get a hold of them and stuff like that. But this whole the kind of weapons those were pretty gnarly weapons as far as I'm concerned. Like, and Beru is no joke with a weapon. Like when she was firing that weapon at full fire, like all of it, both of them were, and I was like, holy crap, they're badass. Like they way more badass than I would expect them to be.
yeah, definitely, absolutely. I mean, I'm more wondering what was actually how they were actually taken over in 4 now. Like what really happened in that battle that was able to.
I'd be willing to bet that inside their house there are some dead stormtroopers in there that went down with them.
Yeah,
That's
well,
all
they
I'm
definitely
saying.
took some people with them for sure.
Oh yeah.
It adds more of like I almost want to see that whole battle go. I mean, obviously I don't want to because it's going to end badly, but it makes it more interesting overall. It's not
it's good enough that it's implied.
Right. But are you done with takeaways?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
We got so much more.
We could talk all day. Yeah, but yeah, I'm good.
But you mentioned perspective.
Yes.
And so it just made me think of this. And speaking of perspective, I figured why not add another person's perspective on the finale? Being that it's the finale episode that we're talking about right now. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Ghost.
What is up?
What's up, dude?
Sorry, I was just doing some lightsaber stuff.
Wait, hold on. I have one too.
Oh, you do? That's cute because I got another one too.
You have a dark saber though, Ghost?
No, because there's no room with all the other lightsabers.
Oh my. Okay. All right. Well, I control Mandalore, so. Oh.
Yeah. It gets dark in here, man. I need
Very cool. Nice, dude.
Ghost can really do the General Kenobi answer. Like, dude.
He's got he's got that whole trunk in episode 5 where it's all those lightsabers. That's what Ghost has.
I love that he keeps it there, like where all our grandparents keep their old blankets and shit.
Yeah,
It's
for
like
sure.
where we're gonna have DVDs one day.
So what'd you think of the finale?
I thought it was awesome. I thought the whole thing was awesome. You know, this is a weird world, man, because I have a couple friends that I've asked them that question and they start off like, and I'm like, shut up, dude. This has been pretty incredible. Like, even for somebody that can usually nitpick shit, it's been pretty damn good. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, I think especially because of the emotional connection that we all have, of course, to Obi-Wan and Vader. Because of course, I've been saying the last few days, these are two of probably the greatest Star Wars characters of all time. So it's like if you mess this up, you're gonna upset a lot of people. And the fact that people are all like, "I love it," and it was like, "Okay, yeah, you nailed it."
I had to wait 40 years for this, by the way. You guys didn't have to wait as long as I did.
Hey,
I could be extra grumpy, and I liked it.
I think the people that had the biggest complaints, and I could be wrong, and if someone's out there that's checking out this video and stuff like that, leave a comment, and I'd be happy to have a normal conversation. But I think some of the people that had the biggest complaints about this series were people that were expecting just crazy things to happen, which crazy things did happen. Like we got a lot of what we wanted, type of thing. But like I just think the expectations were very, very high for a 6-episode season.
And they stretched out a 2-hour movie into a 6-episode
exactly.
show too. That's what you have to really put in perspective too. Is like, yeah, they could have done an 8 to 10 episode series, but this was a really tight knit story packed in that was stretched out longer than it really could have been.
Yeah. So
I'll be honest, I probably would have been okay with one battle, but the fact that they did it a couple times, that was pretty dope. And remember, like in the original trilogy, they're a lot older. So you see like a real robotic, no pun intended, Darth Vader. You know, they're barely moving around. And here they're bouncing around, throwing things. So it was more like a fight. I thought
it almost makes the original fight in the first movie like look more like a chess match, because now they've like they're so much more aware of each other, and it plays more like a fencing fight where they're just like staying away, trying to get back, and it looks so much like this show really adds so much more context to that movie in general.
Yeah,
Darth Vader got his ass kicked though at the end. I like that.
And that line too.
I like what Rico was saying. That was one of the best scenes, was the half mask, half Anakin, because there's so many things that are going on underneath it. But I thought it was really, really good, really well done.
And the way that the lightsaber light was going from blue when we actually got Anakin, and then it transitions to red, and then when it transitions to red, his eyes does turn back into the Sith yellow too, which is really cool. You see his pupil get a little bit smaller. You're like, dang, so well done. Like they just nailed it on every level. I love Deborah Chow. She's nailed every single Star Wars TV episode she's ever directed, and she can do anything, and it would be good in my opinion.
Yeah, Martin said he was surprised we got a lot more Leia than he thought in the show. He said his impression from the trailers was that we were going to see a lot of Luke, not a lot of Leia.
I feel like that was the biggest surprise of the show.
But I think
aside from Reva stabbing the Inquisitor in the first episode, like that was those are the two most shocking moments to me.
But what's cool about that is, I mean, episode 4, A New Hope, is mostly, Obi-Wan and Luke, and we see their relationship and how he kind of introduces him to the Force and all this stuff. So it was cool to see, the opposite, to basically see Ben and Leia and see how they interacted and stuff like that, because we're not going to get that in the original trilogy. We already know that that's not what happens. So it was just it was cool that we didn't have a bunch of him and Luke. We just had the introduction at the end of the season. So
yeah, absolutely.
But Ghost, did you have any big takeaways you wanted to talk about? Otherwise, we were going to move to predictions and talk about what we think potentially.
I have some critical things that I was a little annoyed with, but that's just me always being annoyed.
Let's hear it.
All right. I can't log on to my Mac without it saying it needs an update every fucking day. Did they not update that suit for Darth Vader like one time? Just give us a different button or something. Like, I get it, like, because this would have been the perfect time to kind of change it up a little bit and then bring it back or whatever. I thought that was a little odd.
Maybe
A
make
little
it
tune-up?
chrome.
A little-
Maybe
a little
make it
tune-up?
chrome first, and then they go, nah, chrome's not.
Mhm.
We're not feeling chrome, and then they make
Make
it.
the inside of his cape red for a little bit. I don't know, something. Just
Like C3PO, every time he's missing a different limb and it's a different color or
right.
something like
It also
that.
annoys me every time he tells people to prepare his ship. Because all I can think about is who the fuck is flying his ship since the last time that he flew it?
Oh my
That
gosh.
somebody has to actually
So much
prepare.
pressure on that pilot.
I know.
It's got to be like an authority thing. It's just like prepare my ship type of
He's
thing.
on call. He doesn't get a chance to rest. He's just got to be ready
There
for
is,
that phone call.
there's a squad of people that are just literally sitting around in the break room and have to, at a moment's notice, day, night, does not matter. They just have to scramble and get his seat warmed up and everything ready to go.
There's two settings on that ship. It's Fine Obi-Wan and Arby's. And that's it. Nothing fucking changes on that ship.
Arby's.
Right? Yeah, they have the meat.
They have the meats.
Yeah, curly fries.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Why? I don't understand. They kind of have the recipe of pulling Obi-Wan out now, right? Go after Leia. I don't know why at the end he's kind of like, yeah, we're looking for Obi-Wan. We're doing this and that. I kind of felt like he had the recipe going forward. So I found that to be a little odd. But
Well, Reva taking
taking
Leia was considered a bad move by the Inquisitors. Like, why would you take this senator's daughter to begin with? So the fact that she's now out of the picture, they're obviously not gonna. The Grand Inquisitors are thinking like, why does this little girl matter? Obviously now.
Yeah, not only that, but the Grand Inquisitor was like, don't go after Obi-Wan. Yeah, he was automatically saying that when given the choice between, squashing the other people that were trying to escape or going after just Kenobi. He wanted to go after everybody type of thing.
Yeah. So, and then when Vader says like follow Kenobi, it's funny. You see in the background that Grand Inquisitor kind of like bites his lip like this mother like this guy will not listen. It's kind of funny how in the comics they talk about how much Vader hates the Inquisitors just as much as anybody else. Like he doesn't really want them. He's just kind of like told like, hey, look over these little dark side users for me.
That's another part I didn't like. So when they do that, how many shots does this destroyer take where they're just completely whiffing and missing? They probably shot like 400 rounds and hit it like 3 times. How bad is that dude that's shooting? So
I mean, it's stormtroopers, man. It's stormtrooper aim.
It's true. Yeah, no, they have the stormtroopers are working the guns.
But other than that, I thought it was amazing. I can't wait to see what else they have in store.
Yeah.
I mean, we get Andor next, so.
Andor next, yeah. I'm really.
Let's see a little bit more Darth Maul at some point.
We do need more. We need a live action Maul back for sure.
That would be very interesting. But you guys want to get into some predictions?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So Rico, why don't you kick us off?
Okay. Yeah, I got quite a bit of stuff here.
You do. It's like a page.
I mean, come on. So of course, Danny, you were talking about the great Qui-Gon Jinn cameo at the end of the episode. I would really love if we do get a season 2 of the show. I know they've been telling us that they only set this up for 1 season, but they really did open the door for a potential season 2 to tell more stories if they want to. But I would really like that to focus a little bit on Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn's kind of like spiritual journey through the Force, so that we can kind of see Obi-Wan become, quote unquote, more powerful than you can possibly imagine, which is what he says to Vader in episode 4 during their fight. You strike me down and become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. So seeing those two kind of do their whole thing, because you can't just give us that cameo and then have them, ride off in the Tatooine and not give us more kind of like master and apprentice lessons between those two. Like, I just want to see Obi-Wan in like the student chair again, would be really cool.
Yeah.
And again, more Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn would be great. But again, more story content for season 2 involving Obi-Wan. I am not opposed to them like just adapting some of the stuff that we've seen in comics already, which is something that Star Wars has always kind of stayed away from. Like, if they told a story in some medium, that's the canon basically. But they haven't really like done page to screen adaptation yet, kind of like Marvel. But I would love to see them kind of do this little story where, Owen's, he's a moisture farmer on Tatooine. He doesn't want to pay, like taxes to Jabba. which is he doesn't want to pay money to the mob basically to live on his land, and so Jabba ends up employing Boba Fett and Chrysanthemum basically to go go deal with this farmer, but he's being protected by Obi-Wan. And
Are you talking about how Chrysanthemum gets his scar? Is that
I'm
the story?
definitely talking about that. That is the exact story where Chrysanthemum gets the scar on his eye that we see him having Book of Boba Fett.
Ooh.
But also, it would just be a cool way to have Jabba kind of be a main character in a modern day Star Wars story. I would love to see Obi-Wan have to deal with Jabba in some form, essentially, like to see how that would work out. So that would be really cool. And then one last thing is also I want to see how you can possibly tie Ahsoka into the series, because at this point in the timeline, she's kind of working for the rebellion as like an agent for Bail Organa, who of course plays a role in this show, and she's Agent Fulcrum basically, and we end up learning that in Rebels a little bit later on. And I think if you're working with something like the Path, the little Jedi, kind of like escape system that they kind of set up, and you got characters like Roken and Haja now that are part of the situation. I think there's definitely room that you can put Ahsoka in there, and then of course maybe a cameo by Quinlan Voss at some point. Like I just want to see some more cool Jedi. But man, like the potential that they've opened up in this series for the new characters, for other characters to come in, is limitless. Like again, I already see Roken showing up in the Andor TV show at some point, because he's obviously got a big role to play in the start of the rebellion.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, just to pretty much play off of your prediction, I mean, it's not even like I have it's so wide open of what a second season could look like and what a second season could be. We could sit here and just say any characters. Like I would be really interested to see Cal from Jedi Fallen Order, just to be kind of live action introduced almost. So almost like what we got with Ahsoka in Mandalorian, or in the Mandalorian, not. But we kind of just got like we had one episode with her, and everybody was like, "This is great. This needs we need more live action Ahsoka." So if we got like that kind of introduction to a live action Cal, and then like they were able to see how fans reacted to it, there are already rumors that potentially we could get a live action series with him as a main character.
Mm-hmm.
So to have him kind of be introduced live action in an episode of a second season of Kenobi would be a really cool, gauge to make sure that fans were interested in it, type of thing. And I think they do that. I think the people that make the Star Wars series are smart, and they do kind of test the waters in other series to make sure that like they're not just gonna waste the time or energy to make a series that nobody wants, type of thing. So I think they play it really smart, and to see different characters introduced like that, I think would be awesome. And just to gauge and see if we can get a series later. But like you were saying in takeaways, I think you're saying in takeaways, I would love a Vader series. I think would be awesome. And I don't even know where they would go with it. It's just him kind of.
That's another thing I think where you can just go page to screen adaptation, just do the Vader comics as a TV show. And that's the story right there.
Yeah. But I mean, what about you, Ghost? Do you have any predictions for a potential season 2?
Have one. Okay. Rico kind of talked about it. You see Obi-Wan walk off with Qui-Gon, and you imagine he's going to learn some stuff, right? You guys ever seen Duck Dynasty?
Oh, man.
All right. Can't live next to a swamp without there's some shit happening, right? He's going to go to Yoda at some point, and we're going to find out what Yoda's been doing for 10 years.
All right. Yeah. I would love to see that.
All right. Got nothing wrong with that.
I think Yoda's going to have to play some child support, if you know what I mean. We're going to find that out later.
Where's Yaddle at?
I was just
the female Yoda? Yeah, where's she at? But
Also-
actually, going to what he's saying about Yoda, in Rebels, we do see Yoda in the world between worlds, which is essentially like just another plane of like an essentially where he's like it's like this area filled with stars that leads to gateways to all these other places, essentially. But that's where he's able to talk to Ezra and Ahsoka and all these people. So if we can get again another like spiritual force journey, maybe involving Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, where we see the world between worlds, that would be awesome.
That'd be
No.
awesome.
Rico or we were talking a little bit about the Vader series, right? And so
Mhm.
you got to kind of figure out, well, what is he going to do? Who's he going to be put up against?
Just hanging
Remember,
out.
that's where I bring in that Darth Maul thing. And I think you can kind of make those two maybe fight for a little bit of the Emperor's
It'd be
new
interesting.
group.
It'd be very interesting.
Yeah, because Rico, I mean, do you know much about what happens with Maul? Like, eventually after, like,
After
we actually see him in cartoon form?
so we know how his story ends in Rebels. Of course, it ends with Kenobi in that fight. But a lot of that time in between is him running a crime syndicate, which of course we see hinted at in Solo. But I'm not sure if we ever see him fully become like the head of that crime syndicate. But there's all that stuff with like Dryden Voss and Solo, which is Paul Bettany's character and all that. I would love to see some kind of thing where he's climbing up the ranks in some form, and maybe he runs into Vader at some point. Maybe they just clash paths at some point, and that'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
What happens at that point? He's pretty much accepted that the Emperor has thrown him away to the wayside, and I think they even try to kill him, and Emperor Palpatine kills Savage Opress, his brother.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so there's some pretty heavy Maul stuff in there, but man, any reason to bring Maul back into the fold, I'm 100% down for. I love Maul as a character.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
and they both have the best screams for Kenobi's name in Star Wars history too. Maul has that great Kenobi scream, and now Vader can now be added to that with the Obi-Wan screams at the end of this episode, which is amazing.
Yeah. You guys have anything left? Anything?
I'm good, man. I just thank you to this series for even existing.
I gotta play it one more time though.
Hello there.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Yes.
Did you hear Johnny Rico burp in the middle of that? That was awesome.
Dude, I did such a good job burping in the intro.
He's right. I don't know how you did that, because whenever you say that stuff, it mutes everyone.
Right, you stream it all the time. It was so great.
You force
I'm
burp.
with the Force, and the Force is with me, guys.
Apparently. I mean, look, we're getting into Andor, which is going to lead into Rogue One. So, like, yeah, you're getting right into that character.
I'm so excited for Andor. I can't tell you.
What's the date that Andor comes out?
The exact date, no clue. I just know it's. I want to say mid-August.
Yeah, it's
mid-August.
It's August because it's going the same time as
She-Hulk. Yeah. So we're doing more double reviews again, guys. So look forward to
we'll
that.
be back to live on Fridays for Star Wars review. Goz is going to be joining us.
Nah. He's in it. Look at him.
Live from Vegas.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, I guess there's not much else to say except for that's what we think. Let us know in the comments below. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of the season finale of the Kenobi series? And do you think we will get a season 2? And if we are, what do you think is going to happen in season 2? The sky's the limit at this point. And will we get a Darth Vader series? I think, that would be an insane series to get, and I'm all for it. Anything that we can get would be awesome, with these characters especially. But I'm super excited for Andor and for any other Star Wars stuff that we're going to be getting in the future. And as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our latest video updates. Bye, everybody!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.